Hey guys. So I had a lot of things on my mind this morning, and I was watching a couple different YouTube videos, and I kept getting triggered with things that I really felt compelled to share with you. The first video that I watched, I don't know if you guys have heard of Seven Bomar. Um, he's a YouTuber, and I will link the video that I watched below, but I wanted to dive into some of the things that he was speaking on, because it's things that I mention in my videos too that people just brush off to the side that are like so important. It has to do with discernment and how to navigate in this journey, especially considering that the spiritual community is infiltrated by forces that don't necessarily have our highest good and the highest good of the collective in mind. And so we have to be able to discern through this process, because just because somebody's throwing out these spiritual words doesn't necessarily mean that they fully understand the concepts or have fully integrated these lessons and understandings into their lives. And that maybe that some of the things that they're preaching about aren't necessarily they're not necessarily of the highest good of all. They're not necessarily even something that is even close to that, because just because you're on this spiritual journey and you've experienced a few things doesn't necessarily mean you've integrated them into your life, doesn't necessarily mean that you're not in any way have attachments that can like, or programming that can manipulate the way you receive something and then deliver it to others unconsciously, and maybe even being programmed unconsciously. Because there's different things in the spiritual community that go around, like, you don't have to shield yourself or protect yourself, that's fear-based. And like, because people have been allowed programming and archonic programming to come in and make them think that just because you've made one affirmation that you're infinitely protected, that you can't so easily slip into a lower vibration just by feeling a feeling of fear or guilt or shame. And we all do, because we're human beings. And then once you're in that vibration, because you don't continuously affirm and shield yourself, that you are so vulnerable. Anytime your vibration is lower, you need to do this every day when you wake up and you go to sleep, but you have to shield yourself. You have to bring in and affirm that your own power, your own light, and shield yourself in it. And if you fail to do that, as soon as you have any type of low vibrational feeling, you are vulnerable. You're vulnerable to different programming, unconsciously being programmed just by listening to what somebody else has to say. And then that could seed a belief inside of you. And why would you resonate? And if you resonate with it, think about how it makes you feel on the inside. And how are you feeling right now as you're receiving this information? Are you feeling maybe in a lower vibration? Can you trust that feeling that is coming through for you? So it's all about feeling. Feeling is so crucial when it comes to this spiritual journey, because that is your intuition. That is like where you come from for discernment. And like, it's just like when we feel triggered and we're going through this thing, maybe in a relationship or anything else, and we immediately speak or act or what have you, and from a lower vibrational place. And then we think that we can trust those things. We think we can make this rash decision to leave this relationship or leave this job or whatever the case is. And that's coming, but inside of your body, you're feeling like from a lower vibration. So how can you trust that action, that whatever it is, that rash decision that you're about to make? How can you trust that? And the thing of it is when you're shielding yourself and protecting yourself, you become more of the observer. You're not that person who is going to speak and act and make rash decisions, because you know that how you feel, and in that moment, you're creating something. You are creating something. So the more higher you raise your vibration, the more you understand that when you're in lower vibrations, you observe, you do not act, you do not speak, you do not make rash decisions, because you can't trust that. That's not your intuition, that's your ego in the driver's seat. And once you understand this, you understand how important it is to shield yourself, because guess what? You're a human being. You're not always going to be perfectly high vibe. You're going to feel these like different feelings come forward, and that's facing your shadow too. So you want these feelings to come forward, but mastery is when you don't act on these low vibrational feelings. When you're in those feelings, you become the observer, and you can say and you can affirm in those moments, because you understand it. Once you've been through it so many times and you come into those moments, you understand, like, okay, I need to observe now, but what can I do? I can bring in more love. I can bring in more light. I can shield myself. I can say, I do not consent to any low vibrational energies that are trying to infiltrate me right now. I do not consent to those. Affirm that you do not. Affirm that you hold your own power and you are divinely protected. Affirm that in those moments instead of going off and making a rash decision. And affirm that every morning, and affirm that when you go to bed. And I affirm it every time I leave my house and I get in my vehicle. I affirm that I'm always protected. I affirm that I don't consent to any lower vibrational energies that can try to come into my space. Like, I'm not a vibrational match to that spirit. Even if I'm not feeling good that day, I'm not a vibrational match to that. And saying that, I'm protected. I'm observing these feelings come forward, but I'm not interacting with them. And so I really wanted to say that. And, they spoke about a lot of different things in that, in their videos, the ones that I'm going to share underneath my YouTube video. Not going to share it underneath their Instagram. So if you want to see what videos I'm talking about, go to my YouTube and look underneath in the information, and it'll show you that. But one thing Seven Bomar commented on was how a lot of people in the spiritual community, they've learned how to use like spiritual concepts and this awakening and use it to their advantage in their ego. They don't even realize they're feeding their egos and trying to make all this money. I can't even keep up with my own words when I channel sometimes. Trying to make all this money, but how have they used that money and put it into New Earth in the spiritual community? How have we used these fruits from our actions? How are we using them to invest in New Earth, invest in our children? We need to be teaching our children these things so they're masters and they don't have to go through all the crap that we went to. They can remember. That's all we're doing here is remembering, because our minds are wiped every single time we reincarnate. Our minds are wiped. So that's what we came here to do. Remember. And the more you remember, the smoother this process goes, and the more you catapult yourself into expansion and growth. And that's what we need to teach our children. We don't need to teach them to go into school and be programmed. And the school system seems to be the last thing on the list that is getting because it still has really not changed at all. It's like the last thing on the list that is evolving in terms of human consciousness. And that's like the most crucial part, because it's our children. It's our future. And the earlier they can recognize this, the more programming they can avoid, negative, archonic programming that they can avoid, and they won't have to face and have to release and do all this freaking shadow work that we have to do and we've had to do, because we came into this space ever since we were born being programmed and programmed and programmed, and we have to deprogram ourselves to even think, have an organic thought of our own, to even have okay, an identity. Outside of saying, I'm a mother, I am this label, I am that label. No, you are an infinite amount of lifetimes that you live. You're a unique soul signature, but you're also at the same time a part of the one. And really understanding these concepts, if you want to learn about that, a couple days ago, can't remember the name of the video, but I posted a video explaining those concepts. And that is such a huge thing to understand, because understanding the way this universe works will make everything else make way more sense to you. Everything. Okay, giving consent. Yeah, I already spoke on that. Let's see here. Spoke on shielding yourself, spiritual protection. Living power away. Yeah, affirmations are huge. I used to never think affirmations were in the beginning of my journey, okay, I'm just going to sit here and repeat to myself that I am the love, I am the light, all this stuff. And it was just I couldn't, my ego couldn't get understand, and my programming couldn't understand, like, how is this benefiting me? Like, am I really being benefited? Like, you have to, like, faith is such an individual thing. You have to start experiencing it for yourself. You have to believe it before you are going to be able to see it. Because you have to, you can't create something if you don't believe it can exist. And that's a thought, that's a lifestyle, that's anything. You cannot, if you don't believe it can exist, then how could you create it? And you have to understand your vibrational signature is what's saying, like, however high you can raise your vibration and become a vibrational match to the things that you desire. That's because you believe that you're worthy of them. That's because you believe that this can happen for me. You know, you run into a lot of people who are just like Debbie Downers. Like, as soon as you give them an idea, they're trying to tell you why it's not going to be able to work. And they just are stuck in lower vibrations because they don't really love themselves. They don't believe in themselves. They don't really truly have this belief that things can happen for them, so they don't happen for them. That's what their vibrational match to shit not going their way in life. So there was let's see here. There was one thing. Okay, I'm just going to go to this thing that Spirit wanted me to share with you guys, a little exercise that's basically practicing in your imagination. This is practicing. Everybody has psychic gifts, okay? It's just a matter of activating that dormant DNA within yourself to be able to start harnessing them, okay? And to do that, it's a beautiful thing to practice, okay? So practice with your imagination, and that's where beliefs thing. You think you're imagining something, you think, and you don't believe that these things can be real. Like, trust me, through powerful visualizations, you can manifest anything, the partner of your dreams, whatever you want. And it's about intention, and it's about, is this of your highest good? Because you have to also understand that you came here to learn lessons, so you're repeating cycles and deprogramming yourself, and there's a lot of factors that are tied into that. But anyways, one way that you can practice using your imagination is like not judging the thoughts that come in. And what they told me was stretching your mind by exercising it. Jot down random thoughts continuously, like in a writing class. Like if you were in a writing class and you got this exercise from your writing teacher and they were like, okay, sit down with a sheet of paper and just start writing. What are you thinking? And then go to the next thing, and don't judge your thoughts, and just go to, and let your imagination just go and just keep doing this. And you'll start to see how you're stretching, you're exercising your mind, you're stretching it. You're learning to perceive things in different ways. You're learning to trust what comes through. You can learn so many lessons just by doing this simple exercise that they want me to share with you. And these are like super important conversations to have, like especially shielding and affirmations, and understanding that you need to have discernment. It doesn't matter if somebody does Reiki. That doesn't necessarily mean you can trust everything that comes out of their mouth, or they don't have any type of archonic programming or attachments to them, that they're perceiving life in a different way because of that attachment, because they think they don't have to shield themselves. So it's very important to understand and have these important conversations, because if we don't, every time we sink into a lower vibration, which is inevitable because we're humans, we're going through this third dimensional experience, every time we do, we're vulnerable. We're vulnerable because we're not stepping in and affirming our power constantly, just like affirming that I am the love, I am the light, I don't consent to things that don't serve me, and just affirm that. Affirm that every single day. Just say, step into your power every day. Every day. And that's really all I really had to come through with for you guys today. But very important things. And I'll post those videos below my YouTube video, below this YouTube video. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you have to... and you want to get notifications, because I'm shadow banned and it won't come up on your feed unless you don't. You have to go to the following area on my Instagram, hit the drop down arrow, and then you can get notifications to my story or my post. I think you have to choose individually each one. And that was because I was sharing too much truth or information on Instagram, and they don't like that. It's very political and all that crap that's going on. So all my truther stuff is on my Telegram. That information's on my... underneath this YouTube video, and it's also on my Instagram. If you guys want to donate, underneath this YouTube video, there's a link to do that. And because everything I share is at no cost, I'm out here of service, and I do pay for my website and things that I need to do these videos. So it's greatly appreciated when you support my channel. And another thing is, guys, please use discernment. Be discerning. Protect yourself. Step into your own power. Stop looking for something outside of you to do the work for you. We have to do this work ourselves. And we have to like have the tools. And I'm glad that I brought that up. I think Spirit wanted me to come back around after I was doing that close, because I wanted to shout out to Rising Phoenix Aurora. I follow her channel. I totally resonate with her. She hasn't even blown up yet. She was on Laura Eisenhower. She had an interview with her a few months back, and she kind of got a lot of followers through that, I noticed. And that's how I ended up finding her. And she is like the modern day Delores Cannon, I swear, except she's so much more galactic and just like diving into it, like Penny Kelly. I love her too. I watch a lot of her stuff. Very much so, I resonate with her. Anyways, Rising Phoenix Aurora, she has the Galactic Soul History of the Universe. I bought her book off Amazon. It's like 700 and something pages, and it's just volume 1, and it's a lot like Delores Cannon's work, except it dives deeper, and it's so activating. Like, I'll be sitting there reading it, I'll be crying, or I'll just be feeling myself shift because I'm being triggered. I'm being triggered in so many different ways. So anyways, if you look below my YouTube video, I have a list of YouTubers that I resonate with. And when I update that list all the time. So back a couple years ago when I was making videos, I have YouTubers that I resonated with at the time that I made that video. And I like to do it that way and keep it that way, because you can see my growth process through, since I've been making YouTube videos and things that I've gone through, just like anybody else. I'm constantly releasing shadow, releasing low vibrational energies, and upgrading and having new perception. And so whatever I resonated with at that time, and if you resonate with that video, then you'd probably resonate with the people that I resonated with at that time, and which is why I'm constantly editing that list. So the list that I have down there now, it includes Penny Kelly, it includes Rising Phoenix Aurora, it includes Seven Bomar, and other people that I resonate with right now. So if you resonate with this video, you might resonate with them too. And I like to give that out to you guys, because I feel like I'm not going to try to be like, oh, if they watch their videos, they're not going to watch my videos anymore. Like, that's not what this is about. We're here to help people remember. This has nothing to do with money or likes or how many comments you can get. Like, this is so much more than that. I don't care. Like, I know I am so provided for, whether I charge a penny or not, because everything's always working out for me. And that's that affirmation that I give to myself every day. I've never, since I had my spiritual awakening, when I started when I was 27, let's see, I'm 32 now, like the big spiritual awakening. I had my truther awakening a long time ago, but like that big explosive one, like, I forgot where I was going with that, but like, the point I'm trying to make is that you are constantly growing and expanding, constantly. I really wish I could grab that thought back. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna get off here because I've just been ranting for like almost 20 minutes and it feels like 2. I love you. I hope you have an awesome day.